What was your pitch? If someone said to you, hey, what do you do? What would you say?
I just didn't.
Got to sell it in a genuine way. So what I would have said is,
Online networking is super valuable as well.
so honestly, people are so bad at DMing people. It's the worst. Give me someone who you want on your podcast. Ben Francis, right? And to be fair, he might come on because he does do podcasts, right? Yeah. If you DM'd him, hey Ben, big fan, would love to have you on my podcast. How can we arrange this? Versus, which one's going to get a response? Do you know what I mean? You've got to be grabbing.
So what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Visionation. Today we are starting a new series called the Colloquy.
Colloquy, is that what you're calling it?
Yeah.
Spell Colloquy.
COLLQUOY.
I think you're right. Yeah, we'll have to fact check this afterwards.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this new series is just going to be picking a topic given to us by yourselves, the listeners, or we'll just pick one ourselves. So we've picked this one today, and the topic today is building a six-figure business with zero ad spend. So my guest with me today is, where's Shaz? Where is he? Pan the camera to him now.
It's a magic question. Where is Shaz? I'm here in your new studio, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Long time coming. Thanks for the invite. I thought you'd never going to ask me on, to be honest.
Yeah, I finally agreed to pay your expenses. So.
Yeah, that's another topic we can talk about.
Yeah, I wish this was my studio.
Yeah.
One day. But I like your top that you're wearing. Very nice.
Listen, guys, Visionation, they fit very well, very snug on the pecs. But yeah, good top, good quality as well.
I think I need to.
Are you selling these?
Drop some merchandise. Not yet.
But
if you want a shirt, comment below and I'll get
or
you
the hoodie.
Or the hoodie. This is just for me. One of one.
One on one. Okay, fine.
Okay, so let's get into it. So you came up with this topic. You messaged me and we spoke about it.
Yeah.
So building the six-figure business. So you broke it down into, I think, three things. Was it? It was like networking. Mm-hmm. What was the other one?
Networking, social media, and personal branding in general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's just dive into it. Start with the networking side, maybe.
Cool. So just to give people some context, I've got a mortgage brokerage business. I help people get finance for their deals. But the thing is, there's thousands of me. There's loads of people doing the exact same thing as what I do. So it quickly became apparent, why would someone want to use me and not next man, right? Mm. So what do you do to stand out? So first of all, networking events. Again, when I first got into this, I never knew what a networking event really meant. I thought it was like Avon or selling network marketing, right? Yeah. But I've learned as time goes on, networking is so key, because you never know who's in the room, how much money's in the room, who knows who outside of that room, and what connections you'll make. So the first tip and kind of thing to delve into is, when you go to a networking event, how to kind of approach it, who to speak to, and how to actually be valuable and not try and just be a leech, right? So the first thing I do, because look, I'm really, people don't believe I'm really shy and anxious and awkward. I don't like meeting new people. Yeah. It's not my thing, yeah?
Do I believe that though?
But you don't, and you might not believe it, but the thing is, when you see me, I'm around people I know already, right?
Yeah.
So it's different, it's okay, but with new people, no chance. Like I was at an event yesterday, and I was texting people like, are you coming? When are you coming? Let me know, I'll go in together, because I don't want to go on my own.
Yeah.
However, right, so first concept that I do to break down that anxiety is something called pre-networking. So these days with social media, right, if there's an event, people will post, I've bought the ticket, I'm excited to go, it's next week, and that'll be shared by the organisers. So you'll have a vague idea, at least 10 people are going. So DM them, right? Just inbox them. Oh, hey Solomon, I see you're going to this event next week, so am I. What do you do? This is what I do. Great, I'll see you at the event. That's like the smallest conversation, but you've broken the ice. So when you get to the event, if you've done that 5 times, you know 5 of them people. So then it's a lot less awkward, and you don't have to be nervous because you know people there. So that's the first thing. The second thing I do a lot of is just adopting a role. So I like being the plug. I don't like talking to people for longer than is necessary. I just find it boring, because people are boring. But so I like being a plug. Hey Solomon, nice to see you. Who do you want to speak to today? Oh, I'm really looking for an accountant. Oh, you know what? So and so over there's an accountant. Let me introduce you guys. Introduce them. Let them carry on. Move on.
Yeah.
And again, that way, what you're doing is you're infecting people with your personality a little bit.
Mm.
And little by little, they feel like they know you. They feel like you know everyone else. And it builds up this perception that you're that person, right? So that's the first thing, is networking and kind of adopting a role. After that, it's being consistent and going to these events. Like, people think, I'm going to go once and I'm going to get a deal, get a lead, and great. And if they don't get a deal after the 3 months, they're like, oh, it's not worth my time. I think no one's walking around these events with business to give around. What they want to build is relationships. They want to tell you about what they do. They want to know a little bit about what you do. And if there's a shared kind of value proposition there, they'll get your phone number or Instagram, and that's it. So you need to be going to these things 6 months, 9 months before you see any results. I can show you my phone, right? I get messages or texts from people. People actually use text these days. Yeah. When they text, you know it's serious. They'll text me and it's like, I'll see, the text will be, hey Shaz, can you give us a call? We need help with a property deal. I look up the previous message. We spoke or we met like years ago. But because I've been memorable, I'm front of mind for what they want. Another good thing to do as well is, so I'm in property. I go to a lot of property events, but it's always the same people there, or generally the same people there, right? Try and go to events that are not in your industry or your field. So if I'm a property person, I could go to a business event, and I'm going to be the only property person there. So then again, you stand out as that person in that field who does that thing. So networking is important. Like I say, I've built relationships, I've made money, I've kind of had opportunities to be on podcasts, things like this, purely by being unseen at these events, because I've become known as that person that does that thing, and obviously I'm approachable. But don't try and be salesy. Don't just chuck your business card, because that's idiots do that. You know, build a value proposition. What do you do? How can you help them? What problem can you solve with theirs, and do it that way.
Yeah. I think that's really important. Like, going there just to provide the value, because when you do that, I think it was for me, it was like when I first started going to networking events. I haven't been to that many. Nothing in comparison to yourself. But when I was starting to go to networking events, I was like, I don't really want to go to networking events. Like, one of the main reasons I started this podcast was because I disliked networking events.
Interesting.
I wanted to start a podcast so I can meet someone face to face and just talk to them on camera or outside, and I can get one-to-one knowledge from them, rather than coming to a group thing where there's loads of people and there's different people coming. And you know how sometimes, I don't know if you agree with this, but if you're at a networking event and you're talking to someone and then someone else just comes and butts in and starts talking about
happens all the time, and I'm
just like, okay, bro, like, I'm talking, like, why are you?
We're in the middle of a conversation, and like, unless you're saying hi or bye, and then you're gone. But they just take over the conversation.
Yeah, and then you just like, okay, and then you just I gotta go, and then you just go. But like that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, what can I do? And I was like, I can do podcasting. I saw the few podcasts, and I was like I can get high value individuals, speak to them face to face, and no one else around, and I can talk to them. I talk to them off camera. So that was one of the ways I wanted to network, and I think that's a good, valuable way to be networking, like podcasts, because you can build, like, I can get you on now, and then the next person, someone you might know, they're like, oh, this podcast is good. I've got loads of people on through that, like, you know, they've said, oh, I've heard you had so and so on, so that's why I agreed to come on. So building my network like that is being helpful as well, and I feel like those connections probably a bit more deeper than
definitely. But the thing is, it's about distribution. So you're having a one-to-one conversation, which will be shared one-to-many.
Yeah.
So you're having a kind of a deep private chat, which will be shared with loads of different people. Yeah. So the attention and the distribution is there. What I also tend to do is, like, say I'm speaking to someone for the first time, or a new potential client, or just a new person I'm speaking to. I'll arrange to meet them, but I'll arrange to meet them at a networking event, just so it's softer. It's not like a formal meal or anything else. And it's like, look, we can have a chat, and if we don't get along, at least there's like 50 other people you can speak to. So that's something I do as well. It's like I use networking as an opportunity to meet someone for the first time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never really thought about that, because I was, normally you just meet the client, you meet with them, go to a lunch, but like you said, if you don't get along, then you're gonna have to sit.
Imagine the awkwardness. You sat there for 2 hours, and you got to pay for dinner as well. Like,
yeah, you're gonna have to sit. But so back to the actual networking events. Like, for me, I just didn't like it. But then obviously my brother Adam, he's told me, like, go to networking events, meet some people, put your name out there, people don't know you, kind of thing. So when I started going to the events, I still didn't feel like I was providing any value.
So what was your pitch? Like, what was your, like, if someone said to you, hey, what do you do? What would you say?
I'll do service accommodation, I do a podcast, like stuff like that. But I just didn't.
You got to sell it. You got to sell it in a genuine way. So what I would have said is, there's two parts to your business, right? You do the service accommodation, like you
Yeah.
manage the service accommodation, but also you have a podcast where you showcase business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Suddenly people will think, oh great, I'd love to be on that. And they'd want to speak to you about it. They may not
Mm.
ask you directly,
Yeah.
but they tell you a lot more about their business.
Yeah, I guess it was just a nerves kind of thing, or
Mm.
like confidence. I didn't really have much confidence, especially when I started the podcast.
Yeah,
Didn't have much confidence to speak to people as much. I'm naturally introverted, so
same.
I just, now look at us.
yeah. And that, I think the barrier of being introverted or shy or awkward or whatever, because it still happens. I think if I ever come across that, I just switch my mindset and say, look, it's part of your job. So if you don't do networking or don't do social media or anything like that because you don't like doing it or you're shy or whatever, well, it's part of your job, so you got to do it.
Yeah. The way I look at it is like, I'm introverted, so that's me stepping out of my comfort zone is going to talk to people, and then that's one thing when I think, oh, that's out of my comfort zone, I really want to do it.
Yeah.
It makes me want to do it. So that was one thing that I was like, I just have to do it, and the confidence will come over time. And it comes with experience now. This is like probably the 21st, 22nd podcast. So like since the first one, if you watch back, like,
Oh yeah, I've seen them all.
Yeah.
No, I've seen a lot of the early ones.
Yeah, it's completely different. Like, the confidence grows, and then the same with the networking events going there. So there was one where it changed for me was this one networking event I went to. It was for Airbnb. It was Airbnb run a kind of thing. I don't know if it was probably through a few layers, but there was people there. So I think it was just around the corner from my mailbox. It was, and it was a really like small group, probably like 15 people. And I went there and I didn't really know what to expect. I was like, oh, there might be loads of people there. And so I walked in. It was like upstairs in the Everyman Cinema.
Mhm.
Upstairs area. It's like a bar kind of thing. So I was there, and I just walked in, and there was like 15 people, and they were like all like double my age, and I was like, oh shit, no way. Like, I expected to see people my age, and then just went there, spoke to a few people, and then most of these people had like one or two essays. They're just starting off. They're doing their first Airbnb. They didn't even have like their pricing done and this and that. And I'm there like teaching them, and I'm there and I'm just giving them all my information that I know. I'm just telling them, this is how we do this, and I've got like this many apartments and this, and they're like, wow, like you got so many, and how do you do this, how do you do that? And like the whole time I was just telling people, and I was just meeting different people, and these people are older than me, they're like double my age, and I'm like, wow, I'm like teaching you something that I've never been in that kind of environment before. And that really like put it in me that I started like liking networking events. After that, I was like on a natural high. I was like, wow, that was so good.
Yeah.
And I was there giving value. If I would go there expecting stuff, and I don't feel, I
It
wouldn't
doesn't
feel
work.
the same.
You've added value to their lives, and they're going to connect with you, and they might ask you more questions. I think one of the things I also try and do is when I speak to people, is in my head I'm going to imagine that they don't want to do business with me at all. So, like, they might ask me a question. Hey, actually, you know what? I'm struggling with a mortgage application. I've tried this and that, and I'll tell them, you know what? Tell your broker. So I'm assuming they're not going to work. I'm assuming they've got someone else. But yeah, tell your broker to try this. It might work. And by doing that, it just, because you're essentially anti-selling. You're like, yeah, you know what? Here's the answer to your question. Use who you got anyway. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah.
People love it because they're like, oh, you're so genuine, you're so down to earth. And I am, but I'm assuming we're not going to do business together.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you just need the information, because information is information. It's everywhere. So there's no gatekeeping. Do you know what I mean? I think people who gatekeep, it's just like, yeah, I'll cover this off on my mastermind, or I'll cover this off on my course. Well, so screw you, because you're gatekeeping stuff that is available.
Yeah, because like if you do that, like just another door will open for you. Like you don't have to worry about that. So one of those things, if you're gatekeeping, then people are gonna think like, well, this guy's a bit weird and stuff. And
you know what happens, like, because of the way I approach it, which is anti-selling, all this sort of stuff, it's all combined into one, right? I get asked to be on podcasts. I get asked to speak at masterminds. I get asked to speak at like little events, all because people understand I'll just give it all away. There's no kind of like call me or whatever. It's just, here's what you need to know, and if you want to know more, you can get in touch.
Yeah, and it's that one of those things like because you're being that kind of giving that kind of energy and that kind of vibe, like people, you'll automatically be drawn to the right things and going to the right places, rather than if you're doing that kind of thing, you'll get those kind of people with you around you. So the networking is really important. I think also, like you mentioned, the pre-networking, online networking is super valuable as well, because you can
people
meet
are so
many
bad
people.
at it though.
Yeah.
So honestly, people are so bad at DMing people. It's the worst. Yeah. Like I recently, I'll give you an example. I mean, I'll keep it anonymous really, but there was a lady, and I had no idea who she was, but she has loads of followers, right? and the only link that me and her had was we'd been on the same podcast. So that was the connection.
Yeah.
So we've been on the same podcast. But her content was good. It was really good. So I actually just DM'd her, but I made it personal. Hey, person X, your content is amazing, good energy. What do you actually do? This is what I do. Off the back of that conversation, because I made the DM quite friendly and warm and personal, she's like, hey, by the way, my dad invests in London and does some developments. Can I give you a number? I was like, hell yeah. So you need to know how to DM people and approach people. If you just do stuff like, hey, how are you? That you've lost attention. It should be like, do some research. Check what they've been posting for the last couple of days. Talk about that post and just say, love what you're doing. That was great. I've got something similar. Can we talk more? Make it personal, because no one's got time. When people start Instagram videos like, hey guys, just thought I'd jump on and no. What's the intro people do? Hey guys, I'm Shaz from Milan Finance. I thought I'd just jump on. That's 4 seconds you've wasted. Yeah. No one's got time these days,
Yeah. That's what they say. The most important is the first 5 seconds. Got to hook them in. But yeah, like you said, I think me just seeing it as well. Like I haven't maybe been the best networking online. Maybe the only thing I really do is reach out to potential guests for the podcast and stuff like that. But when I get someone that follows me and is kind of in the same space, and then they'll message me about my content and stuff, and that leaves an impact on me, because I take notice of them. If
exactly
someone messages me, I'll take notice, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I look at their page and I'll be like, wow, this person actually engaged, rather than someone just follows you follow them back and you don't ever talk.
Because there's a difference. Say you want someone on your podcast, right? Let's think of someone who could be a potential person. I'm trying to think of someone decent now. Let's say you had. Give me someone who you'd want on your podcast. Ben Francis, right? And to be fair, he might come on because he does do podcasts, right? Yeah. There's if you DM'd him, hey Ben, big fan, would love to have you on my podcast. How can we arrange this? Mm-hmm. Versus, hey Ben, love to see what you've been doing. I'm also from the Midlands. This is what we do. Love to see Gymshark growth. I think we've got a lot of shared values. My audience would love to hear about this. Can we make it happen? Which one's going to get a response? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be grabbing people's attention.
Yeah, you got to be adaptive to the people and the situation. You got to think outside the box as well. For example, I think I did maybe DM it, I can't remember, but for me to DM him, we went to the same university as well.
There you go.
Put down there, we both went to Aston, we both grew up in Birmingham and this and that. That's a connection level, and every time I outreach to people, I always see. First of all, I don't outreach just to anyone anyway. I just have to be very selective.
Outreach to me.
You outreach to me. No. So I'm very selective. So when it comes to it, I'll have to see what they're doing, and if I am interested in one of the topics or something, I'll find where we have certain relation in it, and I'll mention that. And each case is different. Someone might be you just have to adapt to it and outreach them in the correct way, but also making it personal but professional.
Making it personal, I think, is the most important thing. The bit about being professional, I think, professional in a personal way. I think in the sense of, and this is just again, it's little things like use emojis, exclamation marks. It softens the tone of the conversation.
No grammar mistakes.
No grammar mistakes.
And no slang.
No slang, and don't put your link on there in the first message, for God's sake. Have a conversation with people. And I think this is why when people use Facebook ads or any kind of auto kind of things on chatbots, it doesn't work as well, because you can't make that personal conversation.
Yeah. I think I've had a few like that where I've followed someone and they've DM'd me back, and I think it's an automated one, because it's oh, where did you find me? Blah, blah. And then it's and then basically goes to selling a course or something like that. And you can kind of tell when it's a robot.
You can tell. Slightly off topic, but this is also relevant. I helped someone recently. So he was an Airbnb photographer, or just a property photographer, and he was Shaz, look at this Airbnb listing. The photos are really bad. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to message the host and offer my services. And I was like, yeah, you could do that. Or you know what you could do is, if you book the apartment for 2 nights, stay there, take some photos and edit them the way you would, and then show the guy you've done it. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if you've got, I get DMs all the time from TikTok short form editors.
Oh yeah, I get them too.
What I'd love is if they took some of my content, edited it, and showed me what they could do with it. So actually show the proof of concept.
Yeah.
You can't do it in every field, obviously, but I think if you're doing something like editing, photography, do the actual work first. Yeah, you might have to invest 100 quid to stay there for a night, but it shows you're actually more giving than saying, I can help.
Yeah, I think that's really important, like what you said, because that's the most probably I get, especially on the podcast page. Oh, let me do your short film, this and that. I get emails as well, and it's some of them say, oh yeah, I'll do it for free, but if you actually done it and then showed me,
you'd be a lot more impressed, like, and then you might even pay them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We're like, oh yeah, I've got an idea for you. Let me do this for you for free. What do you think? I'm just not even going to reply to that. Like, what's the point? And like the thing I said with the grammar and the slang and stuff, like all of these people that message, and I can't remember who I spoke to this about. Maybe it was my editor, but like they message and it's not even like it's all like lowercase, no capitalization, no grammar. I'm a proper grammar, like you know, I don't like writing I like slang, but only maybe my friends and stuff. But in like professional environment, if I'm reaching out to someone, like it has to be like proper. So like they've reached out in that way, or they've just said like, "Hi, how are you? I can do this for you." Like, it's like, why would anyone ever respond to that? If you're actually professional and legit and do it the proper way, then I'm gonna take note of it. I'm gonna take interest. Like, you know, this guy's proper, and it's come across in a professional way, because first impressions is a lasting impression. So once I see that, and anything you say after that, I'm just gonna ignore. Yeah, so.
You set yourself up for a fail by doing that wrong in the first way, right? Yeah,
definitely. So
we covered networking.
Yeah,
bit of social media, right? Social media networking, but I think also I'm in the service industry, so this what I do for business is services. I think personal branding and content on social media. And this has been so important, like the whole Where's Shaz thing, yeah? I was at the Midlands Property and Investment Awards yesterday, and it was really nice because it wasn't the usual crowd. It was people I've not seen for a while. And there was a guy there called Idus, who works with Shaz Hussain. I first met Idus about 4 years ago at one of Shaz's events, and the event was around raising money on social media. And Idus was like, "Hey Shaz, so good to see you, love what you do on social media." He goes, "I remember when I first met you, you were so shy and you weren't speaking to anyone." And I said, "Yeah, do you remember at that event, Shaz actually said," and this stuck with me, Shaz said, "Hey guys, if you're scared to put yourself on social media because of how you look or how you sound or whatever," he's like, "just get over yourself." He goes, "No one cares." And that stuck with me all the way through. So ever I doubt myself about my hair's not looking good or I've not had a shave or anything, get over it, because no one cares more than you do. As long as the content's valuable, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. Like, you think that people care, but people will see and just go past. It's more important that you actually put it out there, so there's something for them to see. Yeah, and I think for personal branding it's important as well to just do what you want.
Do what you want, but be yourself. So, and I use this example, is like, if you're not a funny person, don't try and be funny online, because the moment someone meets you in person and you're not funny in person, it falls apart. I know. Or I speak to people online, and they have this whole persona online. They have an image, and then when you meet them, that isn't how they are, which is okay. But because of that disconnect in their personality, the conversation's jarring, the energy is so different. So be yourself, because I know a lot of mortgage brokers. I speak to loads of mortgage brokers. I love meeting other mortgage brokers, right? And the way I look at it is, we could do the same podcast, and we could say it's the exact same thing, but we'd get half business each, because people resonate and attract different kinds of people. There's enough to go around, so you've got to be kind of giving in that way. Like, don't be threatened by other people who are the same as you, but be yourself and be consistent, because people do have a small memory. Unfortunately, have a very short memory. So if you suddenly go to Pakistan for 3 months, like I did, I got stuck during COVID, and you don't post anything, they will kind of forget that you exist. But what's also important is, don't just rely on social media or Instagram, because if your business, let's say you've done all this personal branding, you've set yourself up, do all the networking, but let's say then for 6 months you can't do any networking events because they're shut down. If your business can't survive that, it's not really a good business. The same as if Instagram blocked your account for 6 months and your business tanked, actually you didn't really have a good business in the first place. You've got to be sustainable without the social media aspect of it.
Yeah. Like you said, I think it's the quote goes, out of sight, out of mind. So when someone doesn't see you, they forget about you. You just gotta be consistent in your posting and whatever it is. And like you said, you have got to have both sides of it. You got to have the actual, let's say, real world aspect of your business.
Actually, the job, do the job.
Because without the social media, it can still function. Maybe not as good, but it can't just fall apart, like you said. So that's really important. And in terms of like doing what you want, I think I realized that. Maybe like recently, I guess, like just posting exactly what you want, and that will just leave you in a better place, rather than maybe pandering to a different kind of thing.
So Two things actually. So with the Wes Shaz, that came up because of networking. So that's why I'm called Wes Shaz. And I think it's good because if I ever decided to sell a business, do something different, I could still be Wes Shaz, right?
Yeah.
The goal though is to be or appear to be omnipresent. So when I see people, they're like, Shaz, you're everywhere these days. And it's like, I'm actually not. It seems like I am. Because either I'm at an event, or I'm tagged in someone else's pictures or posts, or they're resharing my content.
Yeah.
So it seems like I'm everywhere, but the effort to get to that point actually isn't a lot. But that's the end goal, is to seem like you are everywhere. So omnipresence is my goal, and it's happening. But let me tell you a story about posting what you want, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm not a controversial person, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good boy and just do good. I recently got confronted by a property millionaire. Do you want to know the story?
Yeah.
I can't name names, obviously. I'll get my ass kicked. But I did a reel about charity, okay? Or my thoughts on charity.
Yeah.
And all it was, in short, was like I said, look, when people do videos with homeless people, where they're giving them food and or if they're doing giveaways or stuff, I was like, look, unless you're raising awareness for a cause or giving a just giving link, in my opinion, I think it's a bit selfish to show off, basically. And that was that, right? And then about 3 weeks later, this property millionaire, he blocked me on Instagram. And I was like, it's fine. We weren't friends. We were friendly, but he blocked me. And I didn't put the two things together, but it happened, right? And then we're at this networking event, and he's there, and he's like, Shaz, do you want to come outside? I was like, okay. And in the end, basically, he's really upset by it. He's like, listen, why'd you post that about me? I was like, it wasn't about you. He was like, well, it was. I want you to admit it was about me. I was like, well, I didn't. It wasn't about you. But if you feel it was, that's on you, not me.
Yeah.
And he was really, really, really wound up by it. So the risk is, if you post stuff that might upset people, I think maybe try and avoid it. I mean, because you don't want to piss people off.
Yeah.
You don't want to annoy people unnecessarily. You don't want to be seen as a troll. And you don't want to get beat up in the streets of Birmingham, really.
To be honest, I don't know if I 100% agree with that, because you don't want to piss people off, but in that situation, I don't think you're wrong anyway, because you did not mention anyone's name. You haven't.
And honestly, it wasn't about anyone in particular. I've seen a lot of people do those sorts of things, and it was my opinion. But I think, as much as obviously I found it so funny at the time, like, hang on, this guy's so wound up. This millionaire cares what I think. That's what I thought. That's weird. But do I want to upset people that badly? Probably not. Genuinely, do I really want to hurt someone's feelings? Not really.
You're nicer than me, bro.
Yeah. But was I going to apologise? No, because it wasn't about him anyway. So
yeah. I think you can't please everyone. Like, if people are going to be upset, so what? Who cares? You're upset. If the shoe fits, right?
That's what I said in the caption as well.
Yeah. If it's your if it's on you, right? I'm just giving my opinion. If you haven't named any names and you haven't actually directly attacked anyone. Who can say anything
and
to you? It's
you know what?
Platform, you can post whatever you want.
But the adult thing would be to block that other person, which they did. But to have a conversation about it was weird. I think they must have been upset by something.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just messaged you or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I think it's just important to post whatever you want. But
post whatever you want. It's
don't
your
take
page.
The piss. I'm not saying take the piss or troll someone and stuff like that. But if you're posting, you have an opinion, stick to your morals. Like, if you want to talk about something, you talk about something. You shouldn't
be passionate. I think it's good to be passionate and have an opinion, because passion shines through. And like I say, you might want to post, I see you post about charity and the trips you do and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And by you doing that, there might be people who watch that and be like, actually, you know what? I have no interest in the podcast, but this is something I agree with, or this is a cause I support, and they'll kind of follow you and connect with you, right? Just to go back to networking, because these things are all interlinked, yeah? So you built your brand on social media, you're doing a good job, and you go to networking events. Don't forget that a networking event is a business event. You're representing yourself, your brand, and your business. So, for example, I don't drink, but people do. But don't get yourself in a situation or a state where you're pissed, you look like an idiot, and people are judging you. You're representing your business and you as a person. So why would someone want to work with you when you get pissed at a business event? I see it happen a lot nowadays, especially.
Yeah, like you said, there's different aspects maybe to your personal branding. Like you said, like I posted about the charity stuff and the fundraising or whatever. So I think it's important to have those kind of basically be multifaceted, because I do quite a few different things, and someone might not agree with some of the things, but they might like one of the things I'm doing, and they'll network with me because of that. And I think that's what brings out your unique side, because if you have all these different things that you do and your passions and your hobbies or whatever, and you post about it and you talk about it with a passion, like there's probably like not many people out there that could have exact same thing as you. So you're going to be unique and people are going to like you for what you do. Because you're posting what you want, you're going to attract those kind of people. And if someone doesn't like you based on what you post, then that's not the kind of person you want to.
And that's not your problem either. And that's the same thing with clients and stuff. So like I get some clients and people always say to me, Shaz, why do you give away the names of lenders? Because then that customer could go direct or go to another broker. And I'm always like, look, I play the long game, because if that person was going to do that, then we weren't going to work together long term anyway. If that's the kind of person they are, and it doesn't happen, but if that's, then that's their thing. And I think, the main thing is all of this is no good if you're not good at your job, right? Yeah. You could be the best person on social media, best marketer, good at networking, good at work in the room. If when you get business in, you can't process it, you can't deliver, it's no good anyway. You've got to be good at actually what you do. And some people can't make that happen.
And I think that leads into a lot of the fakery on social media, because you could be really bad and having a bad whatever, but you could post on social media like everything is fine and rosy, and people will believe it.
It's a tough one with that, see, because people say, be vulnerable and share the lows and stuff. I find even the lows are manufactured sometimes. People, make like a whole rags to riches kind of thing, and the struggle, they exaggerate how much struggle they've had, just because they know it gets attention. So you've got to be careful with what you're watching and the fakery on socials, because people do chat nonsense sometimes to get the views, get the likes, get the, I feel you, bro. And end of the day, people want their problem solved. How are you going to solve that problem? Is there testimonials? Whose problems have you solved before that are similar? Yeah. How good are you at what you do? I think for me, it being in the service business, what's important to me is response times and being quick. So most of the feedback I get is, you're so quick, you respond to text or WhatsApps very fast. So that's like a USP, because brokers are generally quite slow. So I'd say share the wins. I think, again, I used to be really reluctant on sharing good feedback online. I'd be like, why am I going to show off and stuff? I don't want to show off. But if I don't pick myself up, who else is? So share your feedback, share the fact that people are loving what you're doing.
Yeah. I agree. Like, you should post your wins or post your losses as well, not something.
But be your biggest fan. Be your own biggest fan.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I can understand, like, you might not want to post too many of your wins and stuff like that.
But what if it's like T-Pain, all you do is win?
Yeah, because for me, it's like, I'm very wary of evil eye as well.
Nuzz, bro. Nuzz is real.
Nuzz is real. So, I've had a few instances where I posted something and something happens the next day and the same day, and it's bad, bro. Like, it happens, but I don't think it's going to completely stop, because I think it's around all the time anyway, and it happens. But you just have to be careful of what you do post. Like, even like me personally, I wouldn't post anything too personal. Like,
I don't do any personal stuff.
Like family and stuff like that. I just don't.
Never. But the thing is, even then, that's again a barrier people have, is I don't want to do social media because I don't want to post my personal life. Yeah, but listen, you control what you post. So your personal life doesn't mean everything. It could just mean what you do outside of work. It could just be a hobby. It could just be you watching Netflix. You still control the narrative of what you have.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say that you control the narrative of. That's what I meant. Like, if you want to pretend to be someone you're not, you can do that, because you're controlling the narrative. Whatever you post is what you post, and you can paint a certain narrative. Some people are like, oh wow, like, he's so amazing. Like, this guy's a millionaire. And, he's got nothing in his bank. So
Yeah.
That's really important. So one thing this topic was building the business, six-figure business with zero ad spend as well. So I want to talk about on the kind of content creation side of it. So for me, I think we discussed it off air as well. It's like they have Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and TikTok and stuff like that. So I think I 100% agree. I think you can build it without spending a single penny on ads. I think it was Alex Hormozi. He posted a reel where he spoke about. I think you probably know which one I'm talking about. He spoke about how he's about getting the eyes on your content, and he got like, I can't remember, he said like 21 million views or something across like a certain number, and he said it would cost me like, it costed me basically, I don't know how much it costed him, like in all the creating all the content and stuff, probably like 100,000 something, and he said if I paid Facebook to get the same amount of eyes on it, it it was like 1 million, 2 million, or something like
Wow.
that. So like I've saved this much. I've saved like 2 million. So
All because he's happy to show his face. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So it's really important, like how you can use the algorithms and the social media to your advantage, because it's essentially free. Of course, you have to put money into maybe like creating content and stuff like that, editors and stuff like that. But actual ad spend, you don't really have to, like, for example, we were discussing TikTok. You said TikTok audience is like a bit different. Do you post on TikTok?
I do, but not in the way that I should. So at the moment, all my TikTok is my Instagram Reels on TikTok.
Yeah.
But I understand, or I feel anyway, TikTok, you have to post for TikTok.
Yeah.
Whereas an Instagram Reel, I could put on Facebook Shorts or Reels, YouTube, and LinkedIn with a different caption, and it works. It just doesn't work on TikTok that way.
I think Gary Vee mentioned it, where he said you should have a certain post for your TikTok.
You should contextualize it differently.
Contextualize it. I find that quite hard. So I'm like, hard enough for me to bring out 6 reels for a podcast, and I've got another 6 different versions.
Yeah.
It's a bit long. But at the moment, I've just been posting like the same across the platform. When it gets a bit more systemized, then you can like kind of like play around with it. And if you have like a bigger budget for it, it's a bit easier to do. So at the moment, I have been posting the same reels that I have like for the podcast, for example, on Instagram and on TikTok. And some of them do quite well. To be honest, some of them do better than others. And on Instagram, some do odd, some do better. So it's like getting that. You have to do it to understand, and then you kind of learn like what kind of algorithms are like. Yeah. It's more, I'd say, controversial stuff on TikTok will do quite well. And
well for engagement, you'll get direct, brutal comments in straight away. But are they going to lead to lead generation? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I think it's still.
But again, it's attention, isn't it? It's views, it's eyeballs.
It's eyes on your thing. So like on TikTok, I think obviously the virality is is much more than Instagram and Facebook.
The virality is high, but then the inconsistency. I could do 3 videos. One get 300 views. The next gets 3,000. The next gets 300. So there's spikes. And I think
it's quite superficial, like TikTok. But the thing about TikTok is you gotta understand how to use these platforms. For like me, like TikTok, I'll post on a TikTok, get 100k whatever on the views. And the thing with TikTok is people watch your videos, and then a lot of people will follow you as well. So your following number will increase like quite a bit compared to like Instagram and stuff. It'll increase quite a bit. And then one thing I found is consistency as well. Because they are followers, they'll more likely to see your content on their For You page. So let's say you got like a 100k video, you might get 1,000 followers from that. And if you consistently get like similar numbers, let's say you build up 10k, 20k, and if you're posting consistently, those people will start seeing it. But if you're not consistent like me, on my personal one anyway, I don't post. Like I got one that I got 250k, and then I just left it and I didn't post for like 2 months. And then the next one was like 200 views, and then I got another one, and then I just haven't been consistent with it because I kind of ran out of ideas. But I feel like if you're consistent with it, then those people can actually, they're actually going to be a decent following. The only thing with TikTok is you can't really do much for it unless you have like products that you can sell on TikTok Shop. But I think TikTok Shop is really good. I don't know if you...
There's a lady called Zoe Trigwell from Newport where I live. Yeah. And her cosmetic brand has blown up just via TikTok. Like she now sells in Sephora and Pretty Little Thing. Wow. So that's levels,
Yeah. So like, unless you got a product like that, I don't think your customer base is really going to be there. But TikTok Shop is good if you do have a product. But for me, and if you got like a service-based business and stuff like that, it's really important to then have your other social links in your bio, like your YouTube. You can link your YouTube directly to it, Instagram, and then whatever else if you want to put a link, like a LinkedIn or something. Like, because people, like you say, you get 1,000 followers, maybe like 50 of them will click it and go through to your YouTube or to your Instagram. So that's why I have my Visionation TikTok for, is to convert to the short form. I mean to the long form, or to the Instagram, and get them to come to my personal account and then grow it that way. That's why I want to take them off it. That's why. So I don't really care about the TikTok. I just want them to push onto YouTube and stuff like that. So I think TikTok is valuable in that way. But obviously you get more virality, but it's very superficial. Instagram is a bit more personal. I
find Instagram. So I think for me, Facebook is more like family and engaged people. Yeah. Instagram definitely is where I get most of my business and my lead generation from. And I think Instagram, I've built a community on Instagram. It's easy to build a community, engage with people, tag people, and just you can have conversations. But yeah, TikTok's very direct, to the point. Your videos got to be short, and the conversation's quite short. But the common thing is on all these platforms is someone leaves a comment, reply to the comment, reply to the comment with a question, so there's another comment back. That's how you kind of increase the virality, the engagement, is to have more comments and conversations back and forth. I've not done anything where there's been hate on any of my videos, but I'll give you an example. I did a video about halal mortgages, a reel. Did it on Instagram, everyone loved it. Thanks, Shaz, great information, thank you. Posted it on TikTok. This is wrong. This is not halal. How dare you? And I didn't take it personally, but yeah, the audience is different on both.
Yeah. Like you said, it's quite brutal on TikTok. I've had a few videos like that as well where people are just ripping into the guest.
But is that same video on Instagram and it's different response?
Yeah. On Instagram it's like very supportive and everything. Yeah. And on TikTok it's like, defund podcast. Like, who let this guy get a podcast? And I'm like, wow.
This kid thinks he's Steven.
I'm like, wow. But with that as well, for me, I like to have fun with like trolls and stuff like that. I'll reply to that comment with something funny, or I'll say something. For me, I find it funny. I won't get triggered by it unless it's like a personal attack. But obviously, they don't know me, so I don't know how they're going to personally attack me. But like that kind of thing, like I'll say something back or engage with them. Because then if you engage with them and say something funny or say something nice to them, they're going to come back. It's still, what's the word? You're still getting their attention, because you're going to reply to someone, they're going to see that you reply to the comment, they're going to come back to the video, they're going to look at it again, or like look at the comments and stuff. And then from there, if you're being nice to them or whatever, or in a funny way, they might actually become like on your side.
Honestly, because you confuse the trolls and they're like, huh, like this guy's kind of agreeing with me, but he's not. Yeah, they kind of come on board. One kind of video type that I found works well, if you're not comfortable doing longer videos, is I don't know how I saw it and I started doing some of them, is you just do like 3 seconds or 4 seconds with the intro. So 5 tips to get a mortgage, whatever. But instead of the tips in the video, you just say read the caption. I've noticed those get loads more views because it's only like a 5-second video. So that's a quick one. A quick win is to do those kind of videos, and it means you haven't got to put your face on there. It's just text, or voiceover, whatever. I don't really do any of the trends. Do you? I guess you don't, because it's podcast.
Not really. Well, sometimes, for my personal branding, I sometimes would before, especially on TikTok. You have like viral sounds. The sounds everyone's using.
The voiceover, that American voiceover guy, right?
No. Well, I think I've probably used a voiceover a few times, but like a new song comes out, like someone drops a new song and everyone's using it, and then you just use that, and then you post something about you or whatever it is. That kind of like gives you virality in that sense. You have to be kind of smart and then use the like trending sounds, but like obviously not all trends are going to be for you, especially as like a business owner, and like depends on what you do. You're not just a TikTok influencer, just
that's it.
Dancing and stuff.
It's a balance thing. So it's a good point now. Just to link it back to the business side, is one thing that's always on my mind is I don't want to ever be seen to be say I'm at a networking event in London. So I'm going from Wales to London. It's a 2.5 hour drive. So I'd probably leave about 3 o'clock and go, right. I don't ever want to have my out of office on or miss a phone call from a customer because I'm traveling to a social event. And if they see, because for me, it's like, look, if they see that I'm at an event and that's why I've missed their email or missed their communication, for me, that's like a big red marker. So you got to balance the business with the networking and social media. Again, same with social media. Like, if you're missing phone calls left, right, and centre, or you're taking days to get back to people, and the impression is you're too busy doing social media stuff, that's not a good business way of doing business either. So you got to balance that with that, which is why I think, me personally, because I know Instagram works, I don't focus on TikTok so much, until I grow the team. It works enough where I can manage Instagram, I can do all of that, and still be on top of all the client stuff. So you got to, because after all of this, there is business. You can be viral as much as you want. If getting 1 million views gets you £0 in the bank, it doesn't make any difference.
So yeah, I think it's important to have a balance, with the social media and the business side. And one important thing as well is like you said, if you're not replying on your phone, be posting on social media a bit.
Again, put yourself in your customer's shoes. You don't want to be in that position. One platform we haven't covered, but just to mention, is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, I use LinkedIn to actually build a reputation within people in my industry. So I network with other brokers, people in the finance business, and you know what it means is I've got a small business in South Wales. I've got a team of 4 people. It's small. There's brokers in London with teams of like 50, but because of the way I use LinkedIn and I network with these people, I get invited to loads of things. I get loads of these events and that. And then when they meet me and we talk about business, and when they understand my business, like, oh my God, we didn't realize it seems like you got bigger business going on. And also, they're like, oh my God, your social media is amazing. You're so good at marketing, because it's such an alien thing to them. And in that way, I become valuable to them because I can help them, give them some tips. So by then, because they invite you to events, you document the events, you do all the content, post on Instagram, and from a perception point of view, people watching that will think, yeah, surely if Shaz is in these rooms with these lenders or with these people, there must be some business there behind it. So for me, LinkedIn's been used to help build perception with lenders and people in the industry, to then go back on Instagram to help build a rep that way.
Yeah, 100%. I think LinkedIn as well is very good. You can build a lot of personal connections on there, very professionally. And perception, like you said, perception is really important. Like, you have to not fake it, but like you have to show that you are. Like,
you have to show you're doing the doing. Yeah, I say perception, and I don't mean about being fake. I think you can only be fake for so long. Yeah, but perception is important. It's about positioning and perception. What do you want to be seen as? What do you want to be known for? Which is what branding is as well. And in business and in life, you get what you talk about. So if for the next 6 months, all I spoke about was, let's say, bridging finance, bridging loans. If that's all I spoke about, then I'd get that business coming in. Yeah. So you kind of get what you put out there.
Yeah, you got to make sure you cater to what kind of you want. And going back to the thing where we spoke about, got to find a balance in business and social media as well. There's one thing that I see as well quite a lot, and it's on TikTok, and it was a few companies when I was previously like looking for a job, like in social media kind of thing, and it's like they're market, like they have, let's say they have a product that they're selling, or they have a service or whatever, but their videos on TikTok or Instagram is like, they're in the office and there's staff and they're just dancing and stuff, and it's like, who wants to watch that? No one cares. Like if it's your, like, you have your office, and you have your staff, do I really want to see your office staff dancing? Yeah. Or like, oh, what did you eat last night?
Doesn't matter. And that's the thing. Yes, it might go viral, might get loads of views, but how much of that is going to convert to actual business?
Exactly. I don't think that's going to go viral either. I don't think it would go viral, because why do I care what your staff is? I don't give a shit. You're not for anyone. Like, your staff is not anyone famous. Just someone working in the office. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's more important for them to, okay, you can have some funny content and do kind of virality stuff just to fit in, but you should also have something that kind of pushes them towards the business, or pushing them towards the product. This is our thing, product review or like something like that. And I just don't understand, like, these are like really like big companies and stuff, and their social media is like that. I'm just like, wow. But so like that balance is important. You got to balance and go towards something that is.
One of my friends who's like an agency owner, so marketing agency owner, what she says is, and I kind of use it now, is you should have 3 content pillars. So your content should be one of these 3. It should be aspirational, so that's like lifestyle content. It should be educational, so giving value about a topic, or it should be inspirational, which is about your journey or what you've done. Mm-hmm. She's like, you can choose the balance of which way you want to do it. So if you're posting more educational stuff, then you're leaning towards that. But pick those 3, and that's how you should use your content. And for me, now I'm looking back at it, actually, it makes sense to balance those 3. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's what people do kind of want to see and inspire. Like, that's what we want to provide value.
Because if all you're doing was posting lifestyle content in Dubai, for example, it's great and it looks great, but where's the educational value, or is that going to inspire me? But on the other hand, if all you're posting is educational content, sat in an office going, here's how to get a mortgage, great, but it's boring, right? After a while. Or if all you're posting is your journey, rags to riches, rags to riches, rags to riches. Yeah, but what's the point? Like, so you gotta mix it all up.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, because if you're posting too much of one thing, that's kind of what you're gonna attract. Like you said, if you're posting like lifestyle, if you're just posting lifestyle, most of the time you're just gonna attract like envy. And then if you're posting just in educational, then you're just gonna attract like boring people.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you mix it up, then you get like all kinds of different things and different. It's unique, and people will want to watch you and for what you provide. But yeah.
Just to summarize, like in 2023, 2024 and beyond, it's more than possible to build, a 6-figure, even 7-figure business, depending on what you're selling or what service you've got, purely through personal branding, through networking, through social media networking. You really just have to get over your own kind of confidence or barriers and awkwardness. You have to put yourself out there, because that's what people will connect with. You have to be a person of value and give value and understand what problems are you solving with people. Networking, people say, you know, be the smartest person in the room. I think forget that. Be the most memorable person, be the most valuable person. You want people to remember you, not think you're smart. Yeah? And do all of that and actually deliver a good service. If you're good at what you do and you can market well, you can definitely build a 6-7 figure business.
Yeah, I think we covered some important aspects, and most important thing is being genuine, being real. You know, don't be fake about it, because you're not going to get anywhere. You know,
listen, don't be fake about it. You know, be authentic and be. So I'm not. I think the one thing I don't agree with, which is common kind of advice, is be vulnerable. I don't think vulnerable is important on social media, because often people confuse being vulnerable with sharing every thing about their life.
yeah.
No one cares about. No one needs to know about your cat, right? You know, it's adding no value to my life. Vulnerable, for example, is though that there's a situation going on. This is what's happened. This is what you've learned. This is how you're going to apply it. That's okay. But if you're sharing everything, you're not being vulnerable. You're just being someone who shares everything. And also, I think it's important, Solomon, just for me especially, and this hopefully someone else will value from this, is you've got to own. I think you got to own your success and own what you're achieving, because often we forget and we don't. And after a while, you've got to realise it's not a fluke. You're not getting lucky. You're actually good at what you do. And then when that momentum is a real thing, momentum, and it compounds. So you get people giving you feedback. You get the interaction on social media. You get all the traction. You get the business coming in. And you got to capitalize and keep doing it more and more and more. Like you said, you had someone on TikTok, 250 views, you kind of let it go, start from square one again. But if you kept that momentum going, it would compound even more and more and more.
Yeah, momentum is definitely important, and you know that's the relentlessness and determination to, you know, you can't, anything you do, you know, everything, if I give you the blueprint for it,
yeah,
you're gonna have to put the hard work in. Can't just, it's not gonna
listen, do the work. The work doesn't just happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, like, also gotta remember, like, only success, but you gotta stay grounded as well. Stay humble. Stay grounded,
but you gotta realize it's not a fluke. Because I used to be like, why would someone want to work with me? Or maybe I'm getting lucky. Or maybe Tej talks. You know, he's my biggest client. He tells everyone I'm good. Maybe it's just because of Tej. Nah, it's because of me, right? Yeah. Obviously, grateful for people who refer business. Grateful for all of it. But actually, it's not a fluke. Like, it's not luck. It's because I'm good at what I do. For example, look, this year I've been on, this is like podcast number 37. Okay, so no matter what I think about how I look or how I sound, or, you know, I've got a few extra pounds or whatever, right? Actually, there's a reason that 37 people have chosen to have me on their platform. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to kind of be self-assured in that way.
Yeah, you've got to have conviction in yourself as well, because if you don't believe in yourself, who will? But yeah, I think we definitely covered some great points and topics today. But for everyone listening, like we said, you have to be willing to put in the work. Like, we've, you know, told you what you can do, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. It's not going to happen. You're just going to sit there and, you know. But once you do it, just remember you watch this podcast and Shaz and Solomon we told you about it. So come back here in a couple of years' time. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed this new episode of this new series. If you have a topic that you'd like to discuss on the podcast with upcoming episodes, please leave it down below, or send me an Instagram DM or message, or in one of the comments on the Instagram, and we'll definitely look into that. Thank you guys for watching. From me, Solomon, and from me, Shaz. Take care. Peace.